My fiancé announced, "You'll be on Cheaters next week." But when the cameras rolled, the truth she tried to hide exploded. And she was the one who got exposed on air. I was making breakfast when Katie walked in, grinning like she'd just won the lottery. The pan hissed. The kitchen smelled like burnt toast and coffee. "Guess what I did?" she said, holding up her phone like a trophy. "I signed us up for Cheaters. They'll start filming you next week." I almost dropped the spatula. "Wait, what? Why?" She perched on the counter, legs swinging, utterly delighted. "Because you're always working late," she said. "If you're innocent, you've got nothing to worry about." We'd been together almost 4 years, engaged 8 months, wedding 3 months away. Her excitement should have been contagious. Instead, it tightened something in my chest. "Well," I said slowly, turning the omelet, "then it'll be the most boring show ever." She laughed, kissed my cheek, and left for yoga, phone tucked under her arm like contraband. Left alone with the sizzling pan and my thoughts, I Googled the production company. My thumb hovered, then I called. "Hi," I said when someone answered. "My fiancée just signed me up for Cheaters. If she can do that without my consent, can I sign her up too?" Rick turned out to be exactly what you'd imagine a reality show producer to be. Mid-40s, leather jacket, a Bluetooth headset glued to his ear, and the moral compass of a raccoon near a trash can. But he was efficient. Within an hour, he'd sent me a contract waiver, confidentiality forms, and a list of what they'd need. "We'll wire her up too," he said. For consistency. I could almost hear his grin. I gave him everything. Screenshots of her schedule, our shared calendar, even her car's Bluetooth ID. My stomach churned the whole time. There's something surreal about collaborating with strangers to investigate the person you're supposed to marry. But at least this way I'd know. That night, while she was in the shower, I heard the buzz of her phone again. Reflex, not malice, made me look. "Dan, trainer Thursday night still good? My place. Bring the same outfit, winking-faced." My pulse went cold. Thursday was always my late work night, the perfect cover. I took a photo, sent it to Rick. His reply came fast. "Oh, this is going to be good." The next morning, our house transformed into a film set. A camera van outside, 2 techs wiring hidden lenses in plants and light fixtures, all under the guise of B-roll footage. Katie thought they were setting up angles for my investigation. She practically floated around, offering everyone muffins, practicing mock interviews in the mirror. "I just want to know the truth," she told the camera, voice trembling with performative sincerity. Rick, checking his monitor, didn't even look up. "Oh, trust me," he said softly. "You'll get it." By afternoon, I was wired with a mic, pretending to work while the crew filmed filler shots. Me typing, drinking coffee, looking stressed. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Meanwhile, Rick had a second crew following Katie, under the pretense of documenting her emotional journey. They mounted a GoPro inside her car, and one poor intern had to sit 2 rows behind her at yoga, pretending to stretch. Wednesday came and went uneventfully, but Thursday was the day. Rick texted me mid-afternoon. "We're rolling. She's with the trainer now. You might want to head toward 9th and Elm." I left work early, claiming a migraine. My heart thudded so loud it drowned out traffic. The Cheaters van tailed her sedan to a bland-looking apartment complex. I waited with the crew in an alley, earpiece buzzing with Rick's voice. "She's inside," he said. "They're, getting comfortable." I swallowed hard. "Record everything. Already on it, man. You're gonna want to see this on the playback." It's strange how calm you can feel when the worst thing finally confirms itself. No yelling, no disbelief. Just a quiet, hollow certainty. The kind that feels like standing under a thunderstorm after the lightning already hit. 30 minutes later, Katie emerged laughing, hair messy, carrying her yoga mat like a prop. She kissed Dan on the cheek before driving off. Rick caught it on 3 cameras. "That's our money shot," he said. "Tomorrow we confront." That night I cooked dinner as usual. She came home humming, kissed me on the cheek, the same spot she'd kissed Dan earlier, and asked how my day was. "Just work," I said. Yours. Exhausting, she sighed. You'll see everything on camera soon. I almost laughed. Yeah, I said quietly. I can't wait. When she fell asleep, I scrolled through the day's raw footage Rick had sent me. There she was, laughing, lying, flirting, her whole act unraveling in HD. I stared at the paused frame of her smiling face, the one I used to love, and I decided, if she wanted a show, she was getting one. Rick called again before dawn. We're ready to film the confrontation scene tomorrow morning, he said. Usually we surprise the cheater, but since this one's unique, we thought we'd give you control. How do you want to play it? I smiled into the dark. Let's give her the truth, she ordered. The chaos that followed could have powered a small city. Through my earpiece, I heard the scuffle, the panic, the curses, the camera crew trying to capture every angle. Katie's shriek echoed across the parking lot. Rick's voice stayed smooth, practiced, unfazed by drama. Ma'am, we just need a comment, he said over the mic. You said you wanted to know the truth, remember? Turn those cameras off, she screamed. You can't do this to me. Dan's voice cracked in the background. Katie, what the hell is going on? I sat in my car a block away, hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. The feed from Rick's camera streamed on my phone, grainy, raw, but enough. She was pacing, yelling, mascara streaking. He was frozen in boxer shorts, caught between fear and disbelief. Rick turned toward the camera, perfectly calm. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like our concerned fiancée found more than she bargained for. Katie spun on him. You set me up. You told me we were filming him. This isn't fair. Rick smirked. Actually, you signed full consent for filming both parties. Check paragraph 4, page 2. That's your signature, right? She went silent. You could almost see her brain calculating the damage. How much of this footage would make it on air? How much her friends, her family, her co-workers would see? Rick motioned toward the alley. You ready, man? I stepped out of the car. My legs felt like lead, but my voice was steady. Yeah, let's finish it. The crew parted like a curtain as I walked up. Katie's face changed instantly. Shock, then a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Baby, listen. This isn't what it looks like. I laughed quietly. You sure about that? Because from here it looks exactly like what it looks like. Dan backed up, hands raised. Man, I didn't know she was engaged. She told me you guys were basically done. She lies professionally, I said, not even looking at him. My eyes stayed on her. 7 months, huh? Thursdays and Sundays. Her jaw dropped. You went through my phone? No, I said. You gave me permission. Technically, your show did. Rick couldn't help himself. You've gotta admit that's poetic. She tried one last pivot. The same one I'd seen before whenever she got cornered. Tears, trembling lip, the victim card. I just felt neglected, she sobbed. You were always working. You stopped noticing me. I made a mistake. I kept my voice calm. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. 7 months of lying is a lifestyle. Rick's cameraman zoomed in. Katie realized it and snapped. Turn that off. You don't have permission to broadcast this. Rick pulled out a folder from his jacket. You actually do. You see, when you submitted your fiancé's information, you signed a dual participant waiver. Means we can film either of you, whoever's found to be cheating. Her face went pale. You tricked me. Rick shrugged. You tricked yourself. She spun toward me, desperate now. Please, let's talk privately. We can fix this, I swear. It didn't mean anything. I looked around, at the lights, the mics, the crowd of onlookers forming at the edge of the parking lot. Katie, you wanted a public truth. You got it. For a moment, everything froze. Just the hum of traffic, the whir of the camera. Then she turned and shoved the mic away, storming to her car, screaming that she'd sue everyone. Rick called after her. Make sure to tag us if you post about it. Dan muttered something about being done with women for a while and disappeared inside. Rick turned to me, grinning like he'd just wrapped an episode of Game of Thrones. That was gold, man. Pure gold. You okay? Not really, I said. But thanks. He nodded, surprisingly gentle. You handled that better than most. Usually there's yelling, sometimes punches. You gave us Shakespeare. As I walked back to my car, one of the assistants handed me a release form. Do you want the footage blurred or public? I stared at the checkbox for a long moment. Public, I said finally. She wanted an audience. That night, I watched the raw footage again, her face twisting from arrogance to panic to tears. The producer had been right. Poetic. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I just felt empty. The next morning, social media was on fire. Clips had leaked somehow. Rick swore he had nothing to do with it, which, coming from him, meant everything. By noon, Katie's friends had seen it. Her yoga studio suspended her. Her parents called mine. My inbox filled with messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years, all saying some version of good for you. But all I could think was how a breakfast conversation about burnt toast had turned into national humiliation. For both of us. Rick texted that evening. We're wrapping the episode. You did good, man. Want a copy for yourself? I typed back, no need. I've already seen enough. Katie's mom was already in full performance mode when the elevator doors opened. Arms crossed, voice sharp enough to cut glass. You can't just throw her onto the street. She's your fiancée. Ex-fiancée, I corrected, folding my arms. And technically, she's been living somewhere else on Thursdays and Sundays for months. Katie's sister gasped. Katie shot me a venomous look, mascara streaking down her face. You didn't have to humiliate me like that, she shouted. You could have handled this privately. I almost laughed. Privately? You brought national television into our living room. Rick was there too because of course he was, lurking near the stairwell with a camera crew, catching the aftermath footage. He mouthed sorry but didn't look away. Katie's mom turned her fury on him. You people exploited her. Rick shrugged. Ma'am, your daughter signed a release form and pitched the segment herself. We just provided production value. Katie spun toward me, pleading now. Please let me explain. Dan meant nothing. It was a mistake. I panicked. You planned it. I cut in. 7 months, same pattern, same nights. You bragged about using me. That's not panic. That's a project. Her lower lip trembled. I was scared you'd leave me if I didn't. Cheat on me. She broke then, sliding down the wall, sobbing. Her mom tried to pull her up, shooting daggers at me the whole time. You'll regret this, she hissed. I almost believed her. Almost. Rick quietly leaned toward me. You sure you don't want us to blur this part? It's brutal. I looked at Katie clutching her mother's hand like a child. No, leave it. Actions have consequences. That night, the footage aired, faster than I expected. Rick had cut it with his usual flair. Dramatic music, jump cuts between her laughter and my quiet disbelief. The "you tricked me" scene became a meme within hours. My phone buzzed nonstop. Coworkers, old friends, even strangers messaging me things like legend and justice served. But it didn't feel like justice. It felt like standing in the ashes of something I'd once loved, knowing I'd lit the match out of necessity. 2 days later, Katie posted a Notes app apology on Instagram. Everyone makes mistakes. I let my insecurities ruin something beautiful. Please respect my privacy as I heal. Comments split down the middle, half sympathy, half derision. Someone even tagged the show's account. #cheaters never prosper. By Friday, she'd vanished from social media entirely. I figured that was the end, until Saturday afternoon, when I found her mother pounding on my door again. She's staying with me now, her mom said, eyes blazing. You humiliated her. She can't leave the house without people whispering. Hope you're proud. Not proud, I said evenly. Relieved. She could have had a good life with you. She had one. She just didn't want it. That shut her up. She left muttering something about karma and lawyers, but I'd already called mine. Sunday morning, I woke early, brewed coffee, and watched the quiet sunrise spill over the city skyline. My phone buzzed. A text from Rick. Episode hit 1 million views in 48 hours. Network wants to feature you on the reunion special. Interested? I stared at it for a long time before replying. No. Let it end here. Then, as if scripted by the universe itself, a moving truck pulled up outside. Katie and her sister climbed out, eyes swollen, hair unwashed. She didn't say a word, just handed over her keys and avoided my gaze. Her sister, however, couldn't resist. You didn't have to destroy her. I didn't, I said. She filmed her own destruction. I just gave her the mirror. They loaded the last box, drove away without a word. The hallway finally went silent. I stood there for a long time, breathing in the peace that followed chaos. Later that afternoon, Rick sent me one final text. You're officially the calmest revenge arc we've ever filmed. If you ever want to host, call me. I smiled faintly, set the phone down, and locked the door for the last time. The cameras were gone now, the lights off, the house finally mine again. For the first time in months, the quiet didn't feel empty. Felt earned. By the time the episode aired, my phone might as well have been a live grenade. Group chats exploded. Coworkers pretended not to have seen it while whispering in the hallway. Friends I hadn't heard from in years suddenly resurfaced with popcorn emojis. The title alone was cinematic. Cheater caught on her own show. The fiancée who played herself. Rick had outdone himself. It opened with the same breakfast scene where she told me, "If you're innocent, you've got nothing to worry about." Then the cut, Dan's apartment, her face when the cameras burst in. The internet devoured it. Within 48 hours, the view count crossed 2 million. Memes flooded every platform. Screenshots of her shocked face captioned, "When you realize you're the plot twist." Dan's quiet, "I'm out" line turned into a sound clip on TikTok. Even late-night talk shows used it as a punchline. The comments under the video were merciless. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Bro turned a setup into a season finale. She wanted fame, got infamy. By Tuesday, Katie was trending #YogaGate, #CheaterCheated, #Fiancé Her yoga studio dropped her to preserve brand integrity. Sponsors cut ties. Someone dug up old posts where she'd bragged about being a relationship coach. That didn't help. When she called, I already knew what was coming. "You ruined my life," she sobbed. "I can't even go grocery shopping without people whispering." I kept my tone level. "No, Katie, you filmed your own downfall. I just didn't stop the camera. You could have kept it private. You made it public the second you called a TV crew on me." Silence. Then a broken whisper. "I didn't think it would end like this." Neither did I, but the difference was I could live with it. 2 days later, I got served. She was suing both me and the production company for emotional distress, defamation, and unauthorized exploitation of her image. Rick texted me a photo of the filing with a single line, "This'll be fun." The hearing took less than an hour. The judge, a gray-haired woman who looked like she'd seen every flavor of stupidity humanity had to offer, flipped through the paperwork, sighed, and said, "Ms. Carter, you signed a consent contract and participated willingly in the program. You can't sue someone for consequences of your own actions. Case dismissed." Rick sent me a slow clap emoji afterward. Dan didn't escape either. The gym found out after someone tagged their official account in a meme. He was fired within the week. Rumor said he moved to Arizona to start fresh. Katie followed him, posted a story from an airport gate captioned, "New Beginnings." By the next week, he'd filed a restraining order. The engagement ring, $4,000, custom design, her choice, showed up on Facebook Marketplace. Lightly used, beautiful sparkle. Great for proposals or revenge. She listed it for $2,000. Someone bought it within a day. Meanwhile, my life stabilized. My boss called me into his office, shut the door, and leaned back in his chair. "Hell of a mess," he said. "Half the office has seen it." "Yeah," I said carefully. "Sorry about that." He waved it off. "Don't apologize. You handled it like a pro. Calm, dignified. You even made HR proud. That's rare." 2 weeks later, I got promoted. It felt anticlimactic, but maybe that was the point. Peace often feels boring after chaos. Rick kept in touch, mostly with gallows humor. He mailed me a novelty t-shirt that read "Reality Checked." A few weeks later, I got an envelope from the production company, a royalty check. $137.24. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my coffee. I took a photo of it and texted Rick. "Guess I'm officially a TV personality now." He replied, "Welcome to the industry, man. Next stop, talk show circuit." Instead, I donated the money to a men's mental health charity. The irony wasn't lost on me. A check for public humiliation turned into something quietly decent. That night, I sat on my balcony with a beer, the city glowing below me. I thought about how fast things had spiraled, from omelets and trust to contracts and cameras. How people online laughed without realizing I wasn't celebrating, just breathing again. Katie once said she wanted a story worth telling. Well, she got it. It just wasn't the one she thought she was starring in. Months turned into a quiet, almost uncomfortable calm, the kind that follows a storm big enough to level everything in its path. My name faded from the trending pages. The clips got buried under new scandals, new villains of the week. But Katie's never did. Every time someone typed her name, that same thumbnail appeared, her mid-scream, caught in high definition, forever frozen in the worst second of her life. The internet doesn't forgive. It archives. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that she'd moved back in with her parents. The yoga studio wouldn't take her back. The fitness brands she'd modeled for quietly dropped her. Even the restaurants near her parents' house whispered when she walked in. Every attempt at rebuilding came up against the same wall. Her face, that clip, that headline. I wasn't proud of any of it. But I wasn't guilty either. Just aware. Then one evening, 3 months later, I got a message from an old friend of hers. Someone I barely remembered from double dates and birthday dinners. Her tone was sharp, almost rehearsed. "She tried to kill herself," she said coldly over the phone. "You happy now?" I didn't answer. My mind blanked, the room shrinking around me. "She's alive," the friend continued. "But maybe next time you'll think before destroying someone." The call ended before I could say anything. I sat there in the dark, phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the dial tone. That night, I called my therapist, something I hadn't done in months. He answered groggily but with the same calm I'd come to trust. "Did I go too far?" I asked. He paused. "Did you force her to cheat?" "No." "Did you make her sign a contract with a TV crew?" "No." "Then you didn't go too far. You didn't build her cage. You just refused to sit in it with her." I exhaled, long and shaky. He was right. Logically, I knew it. But emotions rarely respect logic. For days afterward, I replayed every moment. Her smile that morning at breakfast. The way she'd said, "If you're innocent, you've got nothing to worry about." It used to sound like a challenge. Now it sounded like prophecy. I still loved her in the way you can love a ghost. A shape that no longer fits the world, only your memory. I'd imagined a family with her once. A home, maybe kids. All gone, replaced by a reel of footage the world could pause and rewind forever. One night, sitting on my balcony again, I tried to imagine what I'd say if I saw her now. Maybe, "I'm sorry." Maybe, "I hope you heal." Maybe nothing at all. Because the truth is, I didn't destroy her. I just stopped protecting the illusion she built. The truth doesn't care who it hurts. It only shines, and sometimes that light blinds everyone standing too close. She wanted exposure. She got it. She wanted control. She lost it. And I got peace. Not the triumphant kind, but the quiet, necessary kind. Sometimes I still wonder if I should have stopped the cameras that day, kept it between us, spared her the world's cruelty. But then I remember, she set the stage. She built the trap. She just never thought she'd be the one stepping into it. People always talk about karma like it's a cosmic force. But I think it's simpler. Karma is just the moment the curtain falls and the audience finally sees who was wearing which mask. Katie played a game she couldn't win. And for the first time in months, I finally did not fame, not revenge, not even vindication. Just freedom. The cameras are gone now. The lights have cooled. But sometimes, When I walk past a TV in a bar and catch my own face in a frozen frame, I think about how truth costs everyone something. She lost her image. I lost my innocence. But between the ruins, I found something no one could film: silence. Real, unedited silence. And that, finally, felt like living.